All right, is it just me, or does it seem like all these YouTubers and self improvement influencers always just eventually fall off, right? Like, really think about, the people that kind of used to be big. Think of, like, Hamza or Andrew Tate. I mean, they all have kind of fallen off eventually, right? Like, I used to hear about both of these guys, like, in 2022 all the time, and I just don't anymore. And so I guess my question for today is why do self improvement influencers always fall off? Why do they always kind of fade into irrelevancy, or just always end up being sort of the mask of who they were? And so my first theory is that they're just too broad. You know, I mean, these people don't really get specific in anything or any niche, or they're afraid to, right? I mean, you look at you know, someone like Andrew Tate, who's super controversial. He would talk about, and I mean, he doesn't care. He's a billionaire, but he would talk about like fighting. He would talk about money. He would talk about women. He would talk about politics, like all of these things. And I think it was just too much, right? Like you had to believe in kind of everything really to like him. And so I think that that's a huge weakness in that if you're going to be broad, I think you need to sort of market yourself as you and not, what you're actually saying. If that makes sense. And so my second theory is that self improvement is more of a phase, right? Which kind of makes sense if you think about it. I mean, if you were to work out every single day for a year and you were to eat perfectly, you're perfectly consistent or you're relatively consistent, and you did progressive overload every day, or maybe not every day, but you get my point. If you're to do that, you wouldn't probably look up videos about that stuff anymore because you'd be like, I look great, I'm in shape, I can run, I can do whatever, my lifts are great, I don't need this anymore, and vice versa. There's a lot of people looking up how to start a business or whatever it may be, and I think it's just that eventually these people kind of outlive their usefulness, right? And so that's kind of my best theory on why that might be. And I think a lot of it is that people can't really adapt, or they just kind of sell out, right? I mean, it seems like all of these people had like a course. I mean, like all of them. It's crazy, They all had a course, or they would have something where if you pay a certain amount of money, you can talk to them for real and you can get on their Discord or, whatever, which is kind of a little creepy. Kind of, I don't know how to put it. I just know I don't like it. That doesn't sit right with me. I think I would really avoid doing that unless I became very good at one particular thing. I would avoid doing something like that. And I think that the reason that I think is that these people are oftentimes inauthentic, right? I think that the appeal of a lot of these people is that they come across as like real people, and I think that through some of the positive comments I've gotten seem to be more than anything just something along the lines of you're a cool guy and you can feel free to disagree, but I think that's kind of what people like. And so the last one is I think that the problem with this sort of vaguely red pill content is that it seems to reward the extremes. You ever notice that? Who gets popular doing this stuff? It's people like people like Clavicular, who does like bone smashing, and he's not the first one to do that. He's just the guy that like looked insane doing it and really took it to its extreme. Right? There's been a lot of people talking about this stuff, but he was seen as the most extreme, so he got the most popular. Right? Again, think who is that one guy? I think FitX. That was his name. He I think he said that like you're not like something along the lines of you're not a real man unless you make like what was it, like $10 million a year, something really crazy like that. And he's huge. right? He's huge. Everyone knows who he is. And so I think that really, like a lot of other things on the internet, it seems to reward extremes. And so I'll just say this, just know that the reason why I bring this up is that if it seems like you kind of or almost feel like you don't need it anymore, you don't need to listen to these people. Because when I was younger, I kind of felt like that. Like, what am I doing? You're probably right to feel that way, right? I think that they made me feel good, all of these, certain people, and I would, take certain things that I liked from them and certain things I didn't. And I would kind of use it somewhat selectively. But I think eventually you do kind of move on from that. So just know that I think self improvement is kind of a phase, not in the literal habits, but more in how much you think about it. And I felt like maybe I was falling behind. And part of the reason why I'm making this video is I don't want anyone else to feel like that. So that's kind of wraps. That's all I have for today. Um, Peace out. If you don't watch any more of my videos, see you in the next year. Yeah, that's it.